What's it been like for SU?
Well, so far in the class of 2014, I think Syracuse is off to a great start. They've got a lot of guys that can grab some headlines, and then they took a chance on a couple kids that didn't have the exposure that they may have deserved in players like Jason Kabina and Rodney Williams, kind of guys that were under the radar that definitely possess the skills that could help Syracuse moving forward. And then you've got guys like KJ Williams and AJ Long and Zaire Franklin and Colton Moskal in that group there, and the local guy Nas Howard. So it's definitely a great class, a great start to the 2014 recruiting class. Coach George McDonald wants a top 25 class. They're right now, Syracuse is sitting in the 50s according to Rivals.com. So you get a couple more big names in there, and I think Syracuse could be right where they might want to be. Maybe not that 25 range, but getting up there into the 40s and the 30s is quite very possible.
Talk to me about the feedback that you've gotten from these recruits, both committed and guys that are still prospects. What's the feedback you've gotten from them about, Coach Schaefer in his first year being the head coach and his staff as well?
Right now, it's the family atmosphere that Scott Schaefer and his staff create at Syracuse. They're very down to earth. They're very easy to talk to, and that's what a lot of players like. They don't like to be talked to and kind of, people color the truth, so to speak, and Coach Schaefer and the staff at Syracuse will tell you how it's going to be. They're not going to guarantee starting spots for any kids. They're going to come in, they're going to tell you you're going to have to work, and that's kind of what the kids are gravitating to. And then the move to the ACC is still just very big in the minds of the recruits, and we'll see what happens with Syracuse in the first couple of games before they get to that start of the ACC schedule. And just to add on, a couple prospects, Rodney Williams, Nas Howard, and a prospect, Irving Phillips, we're talking about possibly coming up for that Clemson game. And that right now seems like a big game for not only Syracuse fans, Syracuse players, but the recruits as well as that Clemson game.
For fans that maybe don't follow recruiting so much, of the guys committed right now, what's the guy or guys I should say, that they're going to remember?
For Syracuse fans, I think a lot of these kids that are going to be coming into the class 2014 could have a chance to make an impact on the field. And right away you look at A.J. Long. He's a quarterback, and he's already kind of taken the reins as being that leader, and he's not even on the campus at Syracuse University yet. He's still got a lot, he's still going to mature a little bit on the football field, and he'll probably do that with most likely a redshirt year probably at Syracuse. And then you look at his cousin, K.J. Williams, the highest ranked prospect Syracuse has gotten a commitment from since Rivals has in their database going back to 2002. So that's a big name right there. And then you look at Zaire Franklin, who's a linebacker that the highest rated linebacker Syracuse has gotten in almost 10 years. So right now it's just a very great start to the recruiting class for Syracuse. You add in a couple of other big name prospects, and they could be off on their way, like I said.
Does it get any more permanent than a tattoo like A.J. Long has?
Well, funny story, it does not. Last year, a player committed to Auburn University, got Auburn tattooed on his arm, and decommitted from Auburn. So he was left with the Auburn tattoo, but he didn't end up at Auburn. But for A.J. Long, I don't see any reason that isn't a signed, sealed, and delivered statement right there on his arm.
And lastly here, for some prospects, maybe we've seen so many commitments, especially over the last month, to kind of get SU to the number that it has right now. What are some names to look forward to? It's not you promising that they're going to commit, but some names that fans may want to keep an eye out for as the summer progresses.
Well, right now there's a lot of names that Syracuse has made the Final 3, Final 5 cuts for as far as schools that are looking at. Players like Dion Hallman, a defensive back, possibly a wide receiver maybe out of Cypress Bay, Florida. Then you've got offensive linemen like Brandon Bosnan, Aaron Roberts, Chad Mavate. I mean, those are big-time players that could come in and help Syracuse. Another defensive back, Christian Bynum. There's Quadri Olison from up in Buffalo, Irv Phillips over in Connecticut. And there's a lot of different prospects that Syracuse is right there with when it comes to filling out this recruiting class.